Did you ever think your gut might be making you anxious and hijacking your happiness? I'm going to show you the exact three-part gut-brain system that neuroscientists and gastroenterologists use to understand how your digestive system controls your mood, your cravings, and even your decision-making. This isn't about probiotics or elimination diets. This is about the 100 million neurons in your gut that are sending signals to your brain every single second. By the end, you'll understand exactly why you stress eat, why you get hangry, and how to fix the communication breakdown between your gut and your mind. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the one food myth that's probably destroying your microbiome right now. Welcome back to Deeper Dudes. But first, let's talk about why so many of us are walking around with chronic anxiety, digestive issues, and mood swings that seem to come out of nowhere. You wake up with a knot in your stomach before a big meeting. You can't stop reaching for comfort food when you're stressed. You feel irritable and foggy-headed, and you have no idea why. Research shows that up to 40% of people experience functional gastrointestinal disorders like IBS, and the majority of them also struggle with anxiety or depression. But here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't just in your head, and it's not just in your gut. It's in the highway between them. We've been taught to see the brain as the command center and the gut as just a processing plant for food. What a load of crap. Your gut has its own nervous system, called the enteric nervous system, with more neurons than your spinal cord. It's producing 95% of your body's serotonin, the neurotransmitter everyone associates with happiness and mood regulation. And it's having a two-way conversation with your brain every moment of every day through the vagus nerve, sending signals that influence your emotions, your stress response, and even your memory. When that communication breaks down, everything breaks down. But the gut-brain connection isn't some woo-woo concept. It's neuroscience, and here's exactly how to understand it. The first major component is the vagus nerve highway. This is the primary communication cable between your gut and your brain, and it's a two-lane road. Signals travel up from your gut to your brain, telling it about nutrient status, immune activity, and microbial balance. And signals travel down from your brain to your gut, influencing digestion, inflammation, and gut motility based on your stress levels and emotional state. Here's what most people miss. 90% of the signals on the vagus nerve travel upward, from gut to brain. That means your gut is doing most of the talking. When your gut microbiome is out of balance, when you're dealing with inflammation, when your gut lining is compromised, those signals change. Your brain receives distress signals, and it responds with anxiety, brain fog, and mood instability. This is why people with IBS have significantly higher rates of anxiety disorders. It's not because they're anxious about their stomach. It's because their gut is literally sending anxiety signals to their brain. So here's how to support this communication highway. First, stimulate your vagus nerve intentionally. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, the kind where your belly rises and falls, activates the vagus nerve and shifts your nervous system into a calmer state. Do this for 2 minutes before meals. It primes your gut for better digestion and sends calming signals to your brain. Second, reduce chronic stressors that hijack the downward signals. When you're in constant fight or flight mode, your brain tells your gut to shut down digestion and ramp up inflammation. This creates a vicious cycle. Stress damages your gut. Your damaged gut sends more stress signals to your brain. You need to break the loop. Third, pay attention to your gut feelings, literally. That knot in your stomach, that sense of unease, it's not metaphorical. It's your gut's nervous system communicating with your brain. Don't ignore it. When I first learned about this, I started tracking my anxiety spikes alongside my digestive symptoms. Within 2 weeks, I saw the pattern. Every time I felt anxious for no clear reason, my gut was inflamed or uncomfortable. Once I addressed the gut issues with targeted dietary changes and stress management, the anxiety decreased significantly. This is where real healing begins. And once you understand the vagus nerve highway, the next component becomes critical. The second major component is the Microbiome Messenger System. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that make up your microbiome. And these little guys are not passive residents. They're active participants in your brain chemistry. Here's how it works. Gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. They create short-chain fatty acids when they digest fiber, and these fatty acids reduce brain inflammation and support cognitive function. They interact with your immune system, which is 70% located in your gut, and they influence whether your body is in an inflammatory or anti-inflammatory state. And here's the kicker. Your brain health is directly tied to the diversity and balance of your microbiome. Studies show that people with anxiety and depression often have less diverse gut bacteria and higher levels of inflammatory species. Mice raised in sterile environments without any gut bacteria show abnormal anxiety behaviors and stress responses. When researchers transplant gut bacteria from anxious humans into mice, the mice become more anxious. Your bugs are influencing your behavior. So how do you optimize your microbiome? Here's the system. 1. Feed your good bacteria with prebiotic fiber. This means eating a variety of plant foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds. The goal is diversity. Aim for 30 different plant foods per week. This isn't about perfection, it's about variety. Each type of fiber feeds different bacterial species. 2. Include fermented foods regularly. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha. These contain live probiotics that can temporarily colonize your gut and support microbial balance. You don't need massive amounts. A few tablespoons of sauerkraut or a small serving of yogurt daily can make a difference. 3. Avoid unnecessary antibiotics and antimicrobial overkill. Antibiotics save lives, but they also wipe out beneficial bacteria. If you need them, take them. But don't demand them for viral infections, and consider a probiotic protocol during and after the course. Also, ditch the antibacterial soaps and sanitizers for everyday use. Regular soap and water are enough. When I shifted my diet to include more fiber and fermented foods, I noticed my mood stabilized within 3 weeks. I wasn't riding the emotional roller coaster anymore. My cravings for sugar decreased. I felt more mentally clear. This wasn't placebo. This was my microbiome sending better signals to my brain. Small dietary shifts create massive neurological changes. This leads directly into the third component, and it's the one most people overlook. Before we go any further, I want to pause for something important. None of what we've been talking about matters if we don't have the energy and clarity to actually implement it. We all know what it feels like to wake up exhausted. No energy, poor focus, and zero motivation. We also know what it feels like when we get good restful sleep, targeted therapy, and the right supplements. I've personally tested more things than you can imagine. I'm like your personal guinea pig. Everything I have listed in the description below is science-backed and extensively tested. And if you grab anything through my links, you'll be supporting this channel at zero cost to you. Thanks for taking a look. Now let's get back to it. If this is helping, please hit that like button so more people can discover the science behind their anxiety and digestive struggles. Drop a comment. Have you noticed a connection between your gut health and your mood? I'd love to hear your experience. Here's the truth about hunger, cravings, and fullness that changes everything. Your gut produces hormones that directly control your appetite and satiety, and when this system breaks down, you lose the ability to know when you're actually full. This is where GLP-1 comes in. GLP-1, or glucagon-like peptide 1, is a hormone your gut releases in response to food, especially protein and fat. It travels to your brain and tells you you're satisfied. It slows gastric emptying so you feel full longer. It regulates blood sugar. It even influences reward and pleasure centers in your brain, reducing cravings for hyper-palatable junk food. But in many people, especially those eating ultra-processed diets, high in sugar and refined carbs, this signaling system gets dysregulated. Your gut stops producing adequate GLP-1. Your brain stops responding to the GLP-1 that is produced. You end up eating and never feeling satisfied. You're physically full but mentally starving. This is why GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Wegovy are so effective for weight loss. They're mimicking the body's natural fullness signal that's been broken by years of poor diet and metabolic dysfunction. They're not magic, they're restoration. But here's what's fascinating. You can support your natural GLP-1 production without medication. Eat protein and healthy fats at every meal. These macronutrients are the strongest triggers for GLP-1 release. A breakfast of eggs and avocado will keep you full for hours. A breakfast of cereal and juice will have you hungry in 90 minutes. Include fiber-rich foods. Fiber slows digestion and enhances GLP-1 secretion. This is another reason why whole plant foods are so critical. Avoid constant snacking. Give your gut time between meals to fully digest and reset hormone signaling. Eating every 2 hours keeps your GLP-1 system in a confused state. When I stopped grazing all day and started eating 3 solid protein-rich meals, my hunger cues became reliable again. I could actually feel fullness. I wasn't thinking about food every hour. This means your gut's hormone system is trainable. You can restore it. But one thing destroys your gut-brain connection more than anything: chronic stress and the inflammatory cascade it triggers. And that's where the final piece becomes life-changing. The third major component is the inflammation control center. Your gut houses 70% of your immune system, and when your gut lining becomes permeable, often called leaky gut, undigested food particles and bacterial toxins slip into your bloodstream. Your immune system sees these as invaders and launches an inflammatory response. And here's the problem. Inflammation doesn't stay local. It goes systemic. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. It activates microglia, the immune cells in your brain, and inflamed microglia produce chemicals that interfere with neurotransmitter production and function. This is called neuroinflammation, and it's directly linked to anxiety, depression, brain fog, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Research shows that people with major depression have higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. Animal studies demonstrate that inducing gut inflammation creates anxiety-like behaviors. Anti-inflammatory interventions, including dietary changes and probiotics, reduce depressive symptoms in clinical trials. Your mental health is downstream of your gut's inflammatory state. So here's the system to reduce inflammation and protect your brain. First, identify and eliminate your personal inflammatory triggers. For many people, this is gluten, dairy, sugar, or processed seed oils. You don't need to go on some extreme elimination diet forever, but a temporary 30-day reset where you remove the top inflammatory foods can give you massive clarity. Reintroduce them one at a time and notice how you feel, both physically and mentally. Second, prioritize anti-inflammatory foods daily. Omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are potent anti-inflammatory agents that cross into the brain. Polyphenols from berries, dark chocolate, green tea, and colorful vegetables reduce oxidative stress and support the gut lining. Turmeric and ginger have been used for centuries because they work. Add them to meals or drink them as tea. Third, manage stress with non-negotiable daily practices. Chronic stress increases gut permeability and inflammation. Meditation, even 5 minutes a day, reduces inflammatory markers. Exercise, especially moderate intensity like walking or yoga, supports gut barrier function and microbial diversity. Sleep, 7 to 9 hours, is when your gut lining repairs itself. Skimp on sleep and you're perpetuating the inflammation cycle. When I was going through a particularly stressful period in my life, my digestion fell apart. I had constant bloating, brain fog, and low-level anxiety that wouldn't quit. I tried everything: supplements, different diets, more exercise. Nothing worked until I addressed the stress. I started a simple morning routine: 10 minutes of breath work, a walk outside, and a gut-friendly breakfast. Within 2 weeks, my symptoms improved. Within a month, I felt like a different person. The obstacle wasn't my gut. It was my nervous system's grip on my gut. And that's where the gut-brain connection becomes life-changing. When you combine all 3 components, the vagus nerve highway gives you the communication infrastructure. The Microbiome Messenger System gives you the chemical signaling. The Inflammation Control Center protects your brain from damage. This is how you achieve true gut-brain health. Not just reducing anxiety or fixing IBS, but creating a resilient, balanced system where your gut and brain work together instead of against each other. Your gut isn't just digesting food. It's producing neurotransmitters, regulating your immune system, and sending constant feedback to your brain about safety, nourishment, and threat. When you heal your gut, you heal your mind. When you calm your mind, you heal your gut. This is the bi-directional power of the gut-brain axis, and it's the future of mental health treatment. Drop a comment. Which component are you focusing on first? Number 1, the vagus nerve highway. Number 2, the Microbiome Messenger System. Or number 3, the Inflammation Control Center. Well, that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, please be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe to Deeper Dudes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It all helps the channel more than you know, and it also tells us that we should make more content like this. We post videos every other day that tackle real challenges men face. Remember, struggling doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. The fact that you took time to watch this means you're ready for something better. Thanks again for watching and for checking out all the amazing products in the description below. They could jumpstart your healing journey. Catch you in the next one, Deeper Dudes. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving.